In the direction, the black dog looked back. I only saw the body of the pig in the distance. There's a body standing there. He looked at the dead pig in front of him. The back end has been activated. We lost the battle on the bridge. Lost SAO. Then he turned his head and looked at the three men. Thank you and your teacher helped in pulling me out of the sealed sow's body. What do I think your name is? This young man is a traitor. One of the kings of the earth. Is a close friend, with the best performance in the world. He's also the head of the 10 kings of Pluto. Save 3 did not answer, still displayed defensive posture. In the lap, extreme aesthetic stress. Master once said that ancient objects can also be made into human form. If you encounter the funeral paraphernalia into human form, without the power of B-level epigenetics or higher, don't hesitate to run away immediately. But the master is still sleeping. I can't leave master here and run away. The Lord saw you standing there. Then ask again. You don't want to answer. Suddenly, on his face grew another eye. Very quickly, the distance around several hundred meters fell into his sight. The guard hiding in the distance was also discovered by him. Touch the enemy with 2 eyes. The king of light immediately. Then put your hands up. Wait a minute, the mouse sees the enemy suddenly leave. 3 months later, I sat down on the ground. It's finally gone. It's like picking up a life. Then he turned his head to the master. Then immediately ran to wake him up. Master, wake up. The one you mentioned before appeared in our place. He kept calling and master didn't answer. Qin Kwang King was now carrying the left-hand guard. Come back behind you. He looked at the 3 men and said, don't waste your energy. If you hear the sound of the enemy, you are afraid. Turn your head and look back. How can it be so fast? The blue moon looks at you. You were dragged in by me. The distance between life and death. Everything outside of you. It's all stopping now. If you listen to that, your mouth is open. Stop, SAO. Wait, what you're holding in your hand is your left hand. The king raised his head in his hand. Look and smile. The one you said was this guy. I'm not comfortable now to be seen by people associated with the dynasty. We can only deal with him. Okay, let's continue the story. What's your name? Save 3 stomach fear crash landing 3 night. Kwang Vuong looked at the chain of cause and effect on him. A moment later, I took out the death certificate. Save 3 dummy SAO. Let me see the cause of your death. After a turn to find the book of life and death. Frequency Kwang Vuong. I finally found the name of the 3rd one. You have cause and effect. The rulers of other worlds. I can't blame you. There is such a strong karma. There is a cause of death. He looked up and looked at the 3. What is your master's skill? After listening to the sermon for a moment, Save 3 Wild just woke up uttered. No blame, master has aged a lot since he prayed to God. The reason is the bridge. I have a coding effect. It's what causes life expectancy to decline. The cause of my death was excessive prayer, leading to the loss of life and death. What about my teacher? Above the birth and death book, the reason security guards died was because the monk turned his back, killed by his disciples. But that, the Lord didn't tell you why. But he said his master died for another reason. If you listen to that, it's amazing, isn't it? What is it? Death by SAO or disease? It's not a vendetta. The king of Guang saw your face and laughed. That's interesting, little guy. You are extremely indifferent to your own life and death. He was very interested in the life and death of his master. if you hadn't become someone else's disciple. I really want to accept you as my disciple. Step forward on my path of birth and martyrdom. Save 3 fake. If you hear that, immediately cut off his intention. I refuse. I already have a master. Quang Vuong beat hands laughing. You don't have to insist. I don't have to make you a disciple. Forget it for you and your teacher. Help me get out of the box. So I'm going to give you a little secret. However, you have to tell me more about your story. I'd really like to know what you've been through. That can make you indifferent to death like that. Early morning the next day. As soon as the sun came up, the security guard woke up. He just reached out and yawned. It's been a long time since I've slept this well. Saw him wake up. He and the black dog immediately ran over. Master, are you awake? The old man looked at you smiling. Does anything weird happen while we're sleeping? Save 3 dark faces down to land there. Then he led the master to the body. He checked the body for a moment. In the heart to make judgments. Follow the trail at the scene. The guard was killed decisively. By an entity, figure person. This person is coming from our direction. Because the fight was too short to slow him down. I just can't resist. Is that the power of the left is too poor sao? It is not because the enemy is too strong. After thinking for a moment, he turned his head to look at the 3. This time we were lucky. That knife? No. That religious sacrifice has let us go. Do you remember what the enemy looks like? Save 3 wild scratching head reluctantly responded. He's wearing a copper mask, so I couldn't see his face. He nodded and continued to touch his body. I don't think it's best to cut some of that. I can see that master is easily fooled. To breathe. After a while he came from the enemy. Found a card order. Found it. Then without hesitation directly crushed the card command. Save 3 prices in the back incomprehensible ask. Master, what are you doing? The old man washed his hands. Let his superiors know to collect the body. Very quickly, the sunset had fallen. 2 monks sitting next to the body watched over. And suddenly a star of the bar appeared in front of them. This person is Bluetooth. He looked at 2 people, one body in front of him. What's going on? The old man made a pill and answered. There's something wrong with the mission that you gave us. Mission objectives. There is a weapon of sacrifice that can instantly kill the sperm. The police officer was killed for it. The 2 of us are too ordinary. Not enough to catch his eye. I was lucky to survive for a long time and asked. But what about the weapons of sacrifice? The old man replied casually. I don't know. Maybe it went to find a new host and went Bluetooth. Listen, I don't know what you're thinking. The old man saw that and continued to speak. That's right, that sacrifice after the transformation, wearing a copper mask. So we have no way of seeing his face. Do you want me to redraw that mask? If he could paint it right now. Let's go back to last night's talk of Kin Quang Vuong and save 3 prices. After listening, save 3 wild. Tell me about your experiences. The king was a little surprised. If you approach the fire, you will feel cold. But that purple fire, they don't stop burning everything. In silence, why does he fall into this trap right now? This description seems very similar to one of the 8 great fires, Red Industrial Fire. But as the prince of the underworld, I know very well that this fire doesn't exist in this world. Associated with the cause of death. Maybe a martyr from another world. Has changed in Duong Vu district in the form of reincarnation. Red industrial fire, it's his blessing. Give your reborn body. And his goal is to unleash this fire. Probably is, to coordinate with the master scourge of this world. It caused a fire that destroyed the city. Let the body regenerate. Reincarnation can directly pose a disaster. Be prepared to be fully prepared. I saw the Lord sitting there. Save 3 and say, that was all my experience before I met Master. Now you can tell me the cause of the Master's death? The King of Light nodded. Of course, it's possible. Your Master died of a master conflict. His killer is a tiger. If you listen to that, you are amazed. What are you talking about? Why could it be him? Move the scene back to reality. 3 people are currently on the roof. Remember the conversation with the king. It is between master and shame. Brother is so big. At this moment, he could sense the sound behind him. Turn your head. I saw that his master was also climbing to the roof. The old man came over and patted him on the shoulder. Can't sleep? Or the VI master killed the wild boar. After becoming old, you're starting to worry that you will too. Save 3 hands, shake your head. There is no head to continue the query. There is no reason why, explain it. At midnight, you don't sleep on the roof. You are not in the habit of counting. If you hear that, scratch your head. I don't know what to say. This one. Seeing him so confused, the old man laughed. Don't worry, hunting lessons won't shorten your life. What really consumes life is praying to God. Save 3 puzzling families asked, but if you pray to God to shorten your lifespan, why does Master still use it? The old man replied casually, because this is our faction's covenant with Dad. God, it's the only way to undo the curse. When you get to a level, you will understand. At that time, your soul will go to the hunting retreat. I'll answer all your questions there. There's one more important thing. Though that, the god's wish of the hunting party consumes life. But at sea level, the Sai does not demand immediately. I owe it to my father. After moving up to level A, you will be able to. This also makes many people practice hunting. At level C, I pray a lot. But I don't want to pay later. So after you get to B level, have moved on to other Dharma practices to avoid paying my father's debt. Save 3 fake sounds that is extremely unbelievable. That's okay too. The old man immediately replied, of course, it is possible. It's easy to talk to my dad about this. So you don't have to worry too much. Really can't. Then Master can still use the accumulated work for so long. To confront the neo-novitiate at the court. Let you switch to training. After talking to the Master, the 3 men returned to their room. In bed, thinking for a moment, he called. I thought you just called. The Lord of Heaven appeared next to you. I sat up and watched him ask. You can tell me about the curse of technology. Is there a father anymore? The king glanced at him and nodded. Maybe, but before that, we need to introduce some basic knowledge, so you can better understand the old things that happened. Our world is made up of all things. Devil, God, calamity. Birth and death. The dynasty was divided into 6 branches to develop. Any AI, as long as you have one of these 6 forces. Everyone can have enough power to be the beginning of every story. The age in which technology lives is ancient times, when the forces of evil and evil are strong. The technique was weak at the time. The kingdom has not been established. The boundary between life and death is not as clear as it is now. There's a Venus who wants to dominate the forces of all things. Satan and evil for a long time. That's why it caused the catastrophe of creating 10 sons. They rule this world brutally. Who ended that period of disaster? It's an art by its own power. He shot down 9 sons. But he's with his hunting lineage. It also becomes a thorn in the eye. Chief fake calamity. Finally, under the conspiracy of the chief priest's calamity. And all things are killed because of the traitor. Before the tech dies, he was also cursed by the calamity. By the source of that scourge, is that all those who practice breaking the sutras, they will all die because of the traitor. So how does praying to God shorten your lifespan? It's also due to the influence of something called the root source. That scourge, Sao. The king's side, this is a complicated story. After the tech died, the hunting party gradually declined. The curse of technology. And everything that's been suppressed is coming back. This causes people to call for help. The dead ghost of art. Help him walk the path of the devil. After the ghost of technology becomes public, he created the ritual of praying to the gods. And the texts point to him. In the sutras of the hunting party, with the intention of extending the curse of the cataclysm. But those who wield the power of all things. And calamity doesn't want to see the bloodline of the hunters go back to the old glory days. So they fought each other in many ways. After many disputes, may God become as he is now. The function of extending the curse, unchanged. But the extra function is recovery. Pity is fast. Accompanied by side effects is life-saving. After listening to the 3 senses, wake up. I understand and summarize after all. The replenishment of the hunting god's oracles. It's basically just chains that the big guys put out. For reasons I don't want to see hunting spread. The power of God's grace, not as powerful as those characters. We can only maintain the status quo, right? The king of light nodded. That's right, in fact, the secrets that rule an age. They're more or less in the same situation. The most typical example is the 7 sufferings of ordinary people. The original version of the 7 sufferings of mortals, less limited than now. And the power is much higher. The leaders of the 6 religions, despite conflict with each other, but they only control the top by restricting bottom part, and their attitudes are consistent as never before. Save 3 and ask again. There's one more problem. If I kill the tiger before he kills master, how will my master's death be calculated? Quang Vuong replied, if things develop normally. The cause of the teacher's death. The person in the book will change. But that doesn't mean he'll live longer. Because of his longevity, it's been almost consumed by the gods. Save 3 and ask again. If I get my life insurance back, that the master consumed from his father. So, I have a little bit of interest. If so, it would be a different story. 7 years later in the south. In a den of demons. 2 people are in ambush. After a while, the tiger's den of a beloved pack of wolves was destroyed by them. These 2 people are martial artists wandering security to VI. Level a downgrade. Excellent business school. Next to him is 3. Grade B Master Cultivation Sutras. After dealing with the beloved wolf, save 3 and look around. After a while, he breathed. The number is absolutely right without any. The security guard looked at the smiling disciple. Including the mission this time, the work of the 2 of us has accumulated over the years. Maybe it's enough to exchange me for a grade A supersuit. Easy to level up, is not bad, then go. When we get home, we'll go. He hasn't finished yet. Then save 3 fake voices interrupted. I don't want to switch to another practice. The security guard was horrified to hear that. Why not? Did you know in the last few years, how many times have you prayed to God? Master knows you want to ease the burden on Master. To make the Master less injured. and live a few more years while on duty. But you sent it to my father. It's been over 15 years. If you don't switch to another great practice. Save 3 fake again, interrupted the master. I know, master's arrangement is for my good. I want to move up to a level as the heir to the technology. Moreover, the speed of the disciples' devotion had slowed down. Gas growth has also stabilized. The disciples thought it was time to attack. Grade A. The next day, I sat on a tree and thought. The Lord of Heaven immediately appeared next to him, hovering in the air. I am here to save 3 and look at the Quang Vuong frequency asked. What power does my tiger brother have now? Quang Vuong frequency immediately put your hand up, click calculate. Maybe it's a senior. In recent years, his power has increased significantly. Now he's probably. I've started looking for opportunities to move up to disaster level. I heard that in my heart. Level, a epigastric SAO, even if we succeed in ascending to level A. The distance from him. It can't be made up quickly, either. After a moment, he asked again. So the moment my master died, why? Quang Vuong frequency, seriously replied. In just 2 years, I personally think. After so many search attempts without results. Tiger will definitely be a deal with the chief imam. Everything changed, the death of your master. And great treachery as an excuse. In exchange for a chance to level up. From the enemy. If you hear that, bite your hand. In 2 years, I couldn't kill a tiger. Find a chance later. Allude. Tiger work with Bluetooth master skillfully. The tiger has not been betrayed. He is also a martial arts master. If we do that, we'll accidentally reveal their own problems. While you ponder. Then the king next to him spoke again. Give up on your own strength. It can't be solved. The death of your master. Unless you pray to me. If you listen to that, your face is wrinkled, staring at the enemy. You have always been by my side over the years. Just waiting for this moment. The Lord of Heaven replied, yes. The cause between you and someone important. It's very important to me. So important that I can't help but seduce you. Pray with me. At the risk of being hated by you, it's different now. For a thing that alone power. You absolutely can't do it. It's only fair to plead with me. Right? 10 days later, I had 3 books in my hand. The Axis volume content is a level promotion test of economics. Hunting. Choose an animal that is strong enough and harmful in one way or another alone. After successful hunting, using the enemy's body as a sacrifice. It opens up a path to the regression of hunting. The stronger the animal, the longer it stays in the regression. The more blessings I received from my father. Only 3 out of 10 can survive the challenge of promotion. And only 1 person can successfully advance. After watching it, the 3 of them looked at the 2 in front and said, just like that, we choose the evil dragon Tan district. This person to 8 stars the poppy is a mineral crystal. The person responsible for the challenge promoted to level of martial artists. I want to save 3 spears to choose the evil dragon. He was a little surprised. Are you sure you are a young man? But we've reached level a median. Even though you learn to hunt, has an advantage over the animals. But B-level epigastric with a level median. There's still a huge gap. Save 3 was steadfast reply. But if you use it, a claw is strong enough to be a sacrifice. Up to my father. We will receive more blessings.